champion last night. Mr. Teofimo Lopez pulled it off. You heard it here first. Your boy picked Lopez to upset Lomachenko. I knew the young man had it in him. Became the undisputed champion. Now, I'm saying that because that's what the fuck they said. But let's keep this 1,000 here on Fight or Flight. Teofimo Lopez is not the undisputed champion. He is not the undisputed champion. Why is he not undisputed? Because there's a man out there, undefeated, named Devin Haney, who also holds a WBC belt in the same weight class. See, WBC, they've been playing games. They've been bullshitting. They come out with a franchise tag, creating belts, putting stipulations on the shit and shit. This is the problem with boxing, okay? But go ahead. Jump in.
No, I was agreeing with you wholeheartedly. That is the problem with boxing. Yes. Like, it's like Oprah Winfrey's giving out belts to everybody. He has a belt. He has a belt. You get a belt. You get a belt. That's why boxing is like, I don't even know who's the champion because there's so many champions running around, and it's like, oh, all you guys are in the same weight class. Right. That's why with the 165 in the UFC is nothing like the boxing because there's going to be one champion at 165, and that's it. He's the man. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I mean, Lopez put on a beautiful performance. He came out, he dominated the first, I would say, 5 or 6 rounds. Just totally dominated Loma. Dominated him the first 5 rounds. Power, walked him down. Loma threw probably, I would say, what felt like maybe 7 or 8, maybe 10 punches per round in the first 6 rounds. Okay. Then
look at the stat tracker. See, this is what just because you throw punches and bunches doesn't mean you're doing. If your shit isn't landing, I don't care if you threw 50 more shots than me. If you ain't hitting me, I don't care. I don't care if you threw 100 punches. If you only land 10, it's no different than me throwing 10 and landing 10 on you. We have the same. You know what I'm saying? So this whole dominated and all that, like, man, you could miss me with that. The dude is younger, and he threw more punches and bunches, and that's all I really seen. But he wasn't. When I looked at Loma after the fight, it looked like he just got done hooping. He didn't look like he was even in a fight. He didn't have no swelling really around his eyes. He looked like he was barely tatted up. So if you watch the fight, he must have went to the body a crazy amount of times, but that wasn't the case either.
That was the case in the early rounds. Lopez attacked the body.
He was not landing most of those shots,
bro.
Look at the stats.
Loma's body. Loma had the same red marks on his body that Dominic Reyes had in the UFC fight. Okay, Loma was getting tagged up in the first like 5 or 6 rounds. His face was swelling. His body was swelling. He wasn't throwing a lot of punches.
I wish I had time to pull up the side-to-side faces after the fight. And if you just didn't watch the fight at all, and I just put these 2 pictures up next to each other, and we said, hey, these 2 dudes got in a fight. Who do you think won? And it's boxing, so he couldn't have got submitted and choked out. He didn't get tapped out. They were boxing, hand-to-hand combat. Who do you think won this fight?
Bro, and you know what? I'm gonna be 1,000 with you. The reason why Teofimo's eye was cut and swollen on the opposite side is not because Lomachenko was tagging him up. It's because he was headbutting the shit out of him. He headbutted him a good 5 times. If you go back and watch the fight, you'll see he headbutted him 5 times. The one where I believe his left eye was swollen, the referee gave Loma a warning and told him, watch out with the headbutting. The last one on the other side, the cut, was in the 12th round. He headbutted the shit out of him and cut him. So you can't go out in this fight. As much as I would love to agree with you that on street rules, we got to go by the ass whoop and who got the ass whoop based off of whose face looks fucked up at the end. In this fight, you can't use that because in this fight, Lopez was the more he put the pressure on Loma. He threw more punches. He landed more punches. These are the stats. He landed more punches. And Lomachenko in the last, I would say, 7th round, 8th round, tried to turn it up, but it was a little too late. It was a little too late. And those cuts and bruises.
I think the biggest win out of all this was boxing, because I think putting on ESPN, putting on a good fight with some good fighters, that it was entertaining, even though it wasn't as much action as I wanted. It's weird how some of these guys, like Loma, is known for throwing hands, and to come out here and he's gun shy is like, it was a little weird. Like, okay, maybe he's just finding his timing and then he's going to let it go. But like you said, it took him a while. He waited too late to try to get in his groove and go after him. I think his game plan, because he knew Lopez is a young gun, he got something to prove because he's the underdog. He was going to let him punch himself out in those first 5-6 rounds, kind of hope he gasses himself out a little bit, and then he's going to turn it up. But Lopez, the dog that he was, never got tired. He just kept coming. And I think that's what the judges really seen, was he was relentless. He was in attack mode. Even though he wasn't doing the most amount of damage, he looked like he was bringing the fight to Loma. And, you know, I give it to him.
I'll say this. The straddle the fence on Lomachenko's side, I believed if he did choose to throw more punches, he could have won that fight. When he did throw punches, he landed, and they were, I would say, in what you were trying to say in the beginning, his punches were way more accurate.
That's all I was seeing.
When he did throw punches, his punches were extremely accurate. So I feel like if he had came out from the jump, bro, you don't know shit about boxing. In the words of Roger Mayweather, you don't know shit about boxing. Last night was a great card. By the way, it was way more exciting than the UFC card. These motherfuckers was banging last night. But then we got the highlight of having Lopez versus Loma. But the thing I would say about, I agree with you as far as the fans winning, and it touches back on what we were just saying about all the belts. Now we have a champion in lightweight. Even though I just told you that Devin Haney,
you just debunked that.
Devin Haney has a belt, so that just means that these motherfuckers have to fight. Now we have Gaethje versus Khabib, interim versus official.
That's what we just watched. That's what we just watched with Loma and Lopez. They had all the belts, all the ones that mattered anyway.
It was 3 champions. Only 2 people can fight at a time. That's what I'm saying. But now we only have 2 champions. Now there is 2 champions. Because the reason why Devin Haney has a belt, and this is fucked up. The only reason why Devin Haney has that world title, and he's criticized for this, even though he's a great fighter. Devin Haney is criticized for his lightweight title based on the fact that Loma would not fight him. Loma ducked him, okay, and took a franchise tagged belt, which means he didn't have to fight his mandatory, who would have been Devin Haney, okay? And if he wanted to truly be undisputed at the time, it was between him fighting Richard Comey or Devin Haney.